My partner recently became disabled and I don't know what to do. Sorry, this is my first post and I'm not sure I will do it right. I really need advice. My partner had a mental breakdown earlier this year, and his doctor put him on a cocktail of different prescriptions for just about anything that might be causing the symptoms. I was there through everything. Hospital trips and appointments. I took on all the household tasks and finances. And I had to become a full-time carer to him. I was coping okay with work and caring for both him and our child. But then the cocktail of meds caused damage to his organs and suddenly everything was terrifying. We didn't know how much damage was caused, or how long it would take to heal, or which organs were damaged. Well, we got our answer. He will never work again, and I will be his full-time carer for the rest of his, hopefully normally long, life. I'm ashamed of how hard this hit me. I didn't say anything, but I often cried and let it all out when no one was around. Mostly I wanted him to be healthy and happy again. But also, I won't lie, I had been waiting and hoping for the day when we would finally have 2 wages coming in again. I felt like all my dreams died. I told a friend what had happened and she said I should use an ultimatum. That he either had to get well or get out of my life. I was even more hurt by that. He isn't going to magically get better if I throw a hissy fit. And I can't stress this enough. This man is my soulmate. He is everything to me. My best friend. The love and light of my life. I do know that everything could have played out much worse. And I don't want to be overdramatic. But everything is really hard right now. And I am struggling with the weight of it all. Some days I feel so exhausted I can hardly take care of myself after sorting out my partner and our child. I'm very, very tired. My partner is depressed about how useless he is in his eyes, and says he feels like he's not even a man anymore. He's never been the toxic masculinity type. He is more of a homemaker than me. So I was shocked to hear such old-fashioned ideas. I think he's just sad and shocked about the past year maybe? But I really need him to get back to feeling less depressed. Even if it only makes his life 10% easier. So I'm kinda on here begging for any advice for making him feel more like a manly provider. If there are any people out there in similar situations who can help me find ideas for enrichment, activities or hobbies that might make him feel a little bit more like my hero. Which he is. He just can't feel it anymore. How do I make him feel manly and strong? Hey, first of all, shame this happened to him and you, respectively. Second, since this is all relatively new for such a huge change, I suspect both of you are still in the transitional period. Most of all, I hope you both can give yourselves and each other enough time to process and adjust. About him, he might be in need of grief counseling. Losing physical ability, an opportunity to work, and other ability privileges we tend to take for granted, is an enormous loss. Some external professional guidance might be very helpful right now in assisting him through this life-changing adjustment. About you. It's absolutely natural and human to experience a variety of emotions. Don't feel bad you feel them. Even those bad ones that you might think you should not be feeling, like grief, anger, and resentment, are part of the journey. Professional help right now would be a great support for you, too. And, as much as you feel the need to help you are already doing so much by helping his outward needs. He can handle his internal journey himself. With professional help, of course, you cannot heal for him. I hope there will be responses from people in the same boat to provide more pointed and contextual advice. Lots of love, and I hope you too will get through this. So, this is a really huge life change for both of you. I highly recommend seeing a therapist to process this life-altering event and adjust to a new normal. That is so awful to hear, Op. I cannot imagine how painful this must all be. You say he will never work again. There are quite a few jobs that disabled people are able to do. I have a fully disabled friend and he is a pretty accomplished artist. Maybe your husband can't do any logging or construction work, but is he able to learn something new and less physically demanding? Photographers get paid really well, for instance. I wouldn't give up on that two-wage dream. Give him a little time to recoup and help him figure out a new career. It'll be good for both of you. It's all fresh still. So yeah, take a breath. Absolutely get that counseling. Also get your families involved. They would help. It's not all on you. Also not sure where you guys are, but check if there are programs to assist you and your husband. It's not going to be easy. There is going to be ups and downs. But you are showing remarkably fortitude and loyalty and a great deal of love. It will get better for your family. Godspeed. Op smile. I am going to comment from a place of experience. Firstly, I'm sorry you guys are going through that. It's an incredible wrench thrown into your life and it's hard for anyone to go through. My husband was disabled in the Iraq War. Multiple injuries, but the primary one being a severe TBI. It changed him completely and halted our lives as we knew it. I was young, 21, and stayed with him, as it seems you are going to do as well. I'm 35 now and share some of the things I wish I had done and some things that helped. 1. You are going to get frustrated. You are going to get overwhelmed and you are going to feel completely alone at times. I wish I had realized that it was okay to feel that way. Do not feel guilty for stressing or feeling sorry for yourself. You are allowed to bemoan a life that played out differently. 2. If possible, maintain a small sliver of life that just revolves around you. Unfortunately, I had to quit school and dropped all of my hobbies and me time and had to focus 100% on my husband. We did not have much of a support system, and somewhere along the way, I feel like I just became an extra in a play about his life. I didn't start focusing on something that made me feel like an individual until I was 32. Please remember to keep a part of you forefront. 3. Support groups for you are a must if available. I know I'm pounding it into the ground, but focusing on your mental health is imperative. Now, what we did that worked. My husband went through a deep dark depression when he was medically discharged and realized that his life goals weren't going to in the cards for him. It took years of his life. He spiraled into drinking, bouts of severe rage and isolation, weight gain, etc. before he realized that just because life isn't what he envisioned didn't mean he didn't have a life at all. He refused therapy and group support for years and regrets this. Having your husband be in contact with others in similar situations, if possible, can make a world's difference. Staying physically or mentally active. My husband has no mobility issues, and as long as I'm with him, so he doesn't get confused or turned around. Hiking, backpacking changed his outlook on life. Being able to have control over something, how far he can push himself, etc., was wonderful for him since he had lost control of so much else. Lastly, I rely on him for things that I can't do myself. I mean, I could figure out how to do a variety of manly tasks around the house if I needed to, but as long as it's in his scope of capabilities, I act like I'm overwhelmed and ask him. I know this was a long response, but I've walked in your shoes. Hell, I'm still wearing them. I wish you luck and never let your own mental health slip through the cracks. This is a huge transition and I'm sorry. 1. Get in therapy. Both of you. Though it sounds like he already is. You need help to process this. 2. Work on getting funds for him. This may include disability insurance or an equivalent, but also may include suing the doctor who put him on all those meds. Talking to a lawyer and working towards a lawsuit, if it makes sense, will give him focus and be a way he can provide. As for ways he can feel like a manly contributor, that depends on the level of disability. what it impacts and how much function he has. Does he have good days where he can do home repair stuff? Or can he learn a skill like leatherworking or woodworking that would give him an artistic outlet? And maybe some small income if he got good? It also depends on what he considers manly. If he just wants to contribute equally, could he take on more childcare or housework responsibilities? And finally, please, get help. Do you have friends or family who can help on days you need a break? Hi Op. I'm sorry that you and your partner are in this situation. I became disabled suddenly, following treatment for aggressive cancer whilst I was pregnant. I was always the main wage earner and it hit me hard when I was told to give up work. I threw myself into being a homemaker and got counseling. Now my son is older, I volunteer where I can and still do most of the home working. I go to classes as well. My husband wanted to leave when I became disabled and he went to IC. We are still together 4 years later. So I get the difficulties on both sides. Your partner needs to do as much as he can at home, whilst doing things for him too. But not moping. Moping is not to be done all the time. Feel free to drop me a message if you want. As someone who also has a disability, that means I cannot work a standard 9-to-5 job and at one point relied on my partner for pretty much everything. Thank you so much for being such a caring and wonderful person. It will 100% be overwhelming right now, but I can assure you it will get easier day by day. I didn't work at all for nearly 2 years. Then started slowly with my own business from home. My other half is incredible, like you, and has made sure I am on top of everything health-wise. It took a toll on us both to begin with, but now we have our own routine. I need him to help me with physical things, but I manage a lot of the mental load of the household. He actually proposed earlier this year, and I couldn't be prouder to say he will be my husband. A few pieces of advice. 1. Mental health is as much of a priority as physical health for both of you. 2. Don't neglect yourself or your friends. You need to make sure you have downtime, otherwise you will burn out, even if it's just a night a week. 3. Try to create an almost invisible boundary between carer and romantic partner. Have a date night where you both get dressed nicely. Help him as a carer if needed, and then go get ready alone, reappear and compliment him on how handsome he is as his partner. And don't talk about medical things or stress. Just movies or books or music, etc. It's easy for it to take over. But having time like this really helps keep the relationship of a couple alive amongst all the assistance he might need. Sending you all the love and support. You got this. I'm sorry you daughter in this situation. Is your partner eligible for any disability payments or for recompense since his injuries were the result of medical mismanagement? He'll be feeling awful, and I'm hoping you have access to free therapy sessions. Depending on which country you are in, you're the breadwinner, but he can still be the man of the house and play a vital role in making decisions, holding the fort at home and caregiving. Does he have hobbies he can turn into a revenue stream? There are a lot of free online training courses that could also lead to a working from home job. Ultimately, you have make sure you are feeling well and fit to take on these new challenges. I'm sorry your friend isn't very supportive, and I distance myself from someone who could suggest such unrealistic ultimatums. I hope you have other more practical friends and maybe join a support group. I'd recommend he sees an occupational therapist that specializes in mental health and disability. In some regions there are really great day treatment centers to help people with depression and learn how to maximize their abilities with their new limitations. Where is his family in all of this? Are they helping by being present so you can have a break? Financially to lessen the strain, anything? My husband also suggested that he can make it his job to make you happy and make you feel taken care of. Hi, I'm the disabled partner. NBI. In my relationship with my husband. No, I don't know what it's like to have the toxic masculinity provider expectation. But I definitely broke around the idea of contributing my fair share and utility. Incidentally, thanks for not listening to your ableist friend, who has no idea how bodies and illness work. What's worked really well for me is when my husband notices and appreciates what I can do. Whatever it is. For instance, right now we need to move to a cheaper house because of my bills. I have taken point on all of the work of finding a house because I can do that from bed. He has told me I'm doing a really great job with that and that he's so appreciative of it. That's meant a lot given I can't do housework or bathe myself. Which really undercuts the old self-esteem. Is he managing his own meds? Is he advocating for himself with doctors? Is he interacting with the kids? Yes. I am serious. Give him positive reinforcement for whatever he can do. Eventually that may become more. This hurts so much to read. I can't say I have any perfect answers. But I can say this. Your feelings are so valid. I can't imagine adding in that it's your husband. And your whole romantic life has just been entirely destroyed for the moment. That is likely the biggest cause of where his feeling comes from. He doesn't necessarily need to feel like a man again but a partner. Can I ask what level of mobility or function he has? I would love to help any way I can. My mom had an entire host of issues for a lot of my life. Helping her while trying to fight for a better life for my brother and sister has broken me more times than I can count. My inbox is 100% open if you want to vent or brainstorm or anything else. Got very sad reading this. Your situation is terrible and I, personally, always dreaded getting into something like this the most. Firstly, you should be very proud of yourself. You did not abandon them. Might sound anticlimactic, but the majority would just run away. Not every person is strong enough to withstand a hit like this. Then manage to deal with all the life problems, old and new, take care of the child and try their best for their partner at the same time. But you are. This is very commendable. Your whole life was turned upside down. Yet you don't give up. Secondly, about your question to make them feel more manly. Sure, every person is unique. But I don't think you can do much for them in that regard. Whenever someone ends up being disabled, they start feeling like a nuisance to everyone around them, which is understandable. And overcaring at this point will likely only make them more miserable. Showing that you still love them, showing affection is enough. They will have to go through this difficult period themselves. For the most part. I, personally, strongly believe in, when life takes something from you, it will always give something in return. Your life was turned upside down. These are difficult times for both of you. But does that mean that life can't be good again? It does not. My best wishes to you. Please know you're not a bad person for feeling let down and burdened by this. Completely caring for another human being is a lot of work. An unbelievable amount of work. And some people just aren't built for it. So if you feel you're one of those people who don't want that lifestyle, please know it's okay. Sometimes we need to put ourselves first. Life's too short. But if you feel you want to do better in this situation, I'd make room in the budget for therapy. I have been in some support groups with guys who have had life-changing injuries, and the ones who do well focus on what they have left, not what they've lost. The grief is real and you both deserve time to work through that together. Having other people to talk to helps. That cocktail may be doing more damage than good. Can you perhaps get a second opinion from another doctor, specialist? If it's damaging his organs, that should be priority consideration over his mental state. A lot of this is being hung on the label, manly, but chances are that this is as much or more about feeling that he no longer has a place in the world. So much of our lives center around productivity and income generation, and more so for men, who are acculturated to feel that they are responsible for making money mainly as they don't bear children and have no other biologically defined role. He is likely sitting with a ton of grief over multiple losses, including his identity, able-bodiedness, etc. He needs help working through this grief and finding a new role. You said he doesn't qualify for free therapy, which surprises me since he has no income. The best thing he can do first and foremost is start exploring whatever function he has and to start working to expand it slowly over time. Even someone who is disabled to do some online art beer money tasks for extra cash. All it takes is the ability to use a smartphone or tablet. You don't go into details about his physical capabilities, but if there is any little thing he can do around the house, he should do it. I'm not suggesting he can recover or get better, but unless he is fully bedridden or overly fragile, there must be some small tasks he can do. The point of this isn't to make your life easier, but rather to help him not feel he has no place in life anymore. You also should look into any services he may qualify for. As others have said, disability payments is one thing, including respite care for you, food support, etc. I don't know what country you are in, but in the US, unemployed people usually are eligible for SNAP as nothing else, and it can be hugely helpful in easing economic loss. He doesn't have to be a manly provider. He could just as much be a childcare helper or support for you. But he has to start wanting to do that. Do you have a social worker? If not, try to get one. Go to the doctors and explain it is all getting on top of you. Find out what help you can get as a carer, his disability allowance, etc. I have no idea what he is good at, but he needs validation. Perhaps start writing, keeping a diary of his illness, the seasons, etc. Get him reading, long walks, music. He needs to have a structured day so that they don't just merge into a long string of days. Maybe he can get into cooking? Of course he's going to be low for a long time, but he has to make sure not to sink with the weight of it all. He has a child. Maybe also shift some of the childcare duties to him. This will also create joy for him. Find out if other people are in your situation. Find out how they cope. Find out charities and clubs to guide you through. I am so sorry this happened to you. Was the doctor negligent?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.